Hi, this is Natalie, the Vintage Cross Stitch Niche, bringing you another video. I changed the lighting. This lighting is obnoxious, actually. It is so bright in here that I can really see, but it's like the light's unnatural for me, but I think this might be good for the video, so we'll find out. At least I'm looking at myself in the video and everything looks real bright, which I think is the way it's supposed to look. Oh, it's been a busy week. We had the winner announced on the Vintage Cross Stitch Niche website of this beautiful little kit. This is going to somebody named Bonnie, and I'm very pleased. I really hope she makes it into something. So that was one thing. Finally, the person who won the Chessie and Me kit, which this, contacted me on Facebook, and now we have a winner for that. And we're going to pick the winner today for this pin keep chart, which I promised last time. So guess I have a lot to talk about. I just got home from work. Yesterday was the Super Bowl, so we had a busy house. I was going to film this yesterday, but I did not film this yesterday because it just ended up being a crazy day. I went to church in the morning, and then in the afternoon, even though it wasn't my day on, a patient, they called me from the hospital that one of the private patients had an issue. I went and did a C-section, delivered the baby. And I came home and we had a few people over, so I made dinner. I also dyed some linen in between, so I'll show you that. And there were people over watching the Super Bowl, so I didn't end up making the video. Is what it is. On Saturday, I attended the Jean Farish classes. There were 2 classes at the Cross Stitch Cupboard in Fort Lauderdale. And I'm going to show you what we got there. First things first, I have 2 final finishes. Number 1 is Merry Christmas. Isn't that pretty? I believe this is on homespun. That's really pretty. It came out great. The R&R homespun, I believe it's 36 count. This is the called for silks. And I put these little buttons in. Very, very pleased with this. The second finish, I have to hang this one up, is the Margaret and Margaret Christmas sampler. Now, this is something else. This one is an old chart. I thought it was out of print, but it's not. And I did an over-dyed thread conversion. Then I dyed the fabric. And then I even re-dyed it at the end and baked it, so you can see even more distressing. I cut the sides and hemmed them over in a sort of a primitive way, and then mounted it on this nice green mounting board, and got this awesome antique looking, here if you can see it, antique looking frame. So this is my version of Margaret and Margaret Merry Christmas. It has 2019 because that's when I finished it. And made to look into an antique sampler. So I'm very pleased with that. Finally have 2 finishes to show you. Let's show you what I'm working on. I don't have anything finished that I'm working on, but I have BG 1843 I hope you can see how nice this fabric is. I'm working it on its side because otherwise this is a long project and it would be hard to put that in a frame. So I am working it on its side. Excuse me, DG 1874. By Samplers Not Forgotten. And this is 40 count buttercream, vintage buttercream, which is a really pretty fabric. And I'm very pleased at how it's coming out. I'll have to see how the color looks. As you see, I have this loose. The reason I have this loose is because if you don't, you will stretch out your linen. It's just not a good thing to do. So you want to keep this loose when you're not working on it. And I'm working on it a little at a time. This is going really quick, the lettering. And these are all the called for silks. Just so pretty. So that I've been working on. I've got about a third of it done. And I should get this. I really want to finish that badly. And I'm going to be finishing that before I start anything else. Or picking up Harriet Salt again, which I did make a nice start on. Now, when I went to the cross stitch cupboard, I did not want to leave empty-handed. That's just something you don't do. So I picked up this relatively new chart by Kathy Barrick called Christmas Reindeer Sampler. So she has the original sampler right here and her reproduction right here. Now, the original sampler is pretty grungy. I'm just going to hold that up real close. That looks really grungy, right? And she did her version on 46 count Bergen linen from Lakeside Linens, which is actually an uneven weave linen. Who knew that? It says 46 count Bergen linen from Lakeside Linens. Doesn't say what color. Bergen is just the name of the Zweigart type of linen. It says here, realistically, this linen has a thread count of 41 by 46. The finished size of our sampler is 2.5 by 4 inches high on the Bergen linen. And then she used some NPI silks with a DMC conversion for hers. So I initially was going to use this linen. This linen is called Butter Betty Brew. It's 30 count by R&R Productions. It's real pretty. I hope you can see the color. It's got a lot of greens and tans, which I thought would have worked very, very nicely with this sampler. And it would have. But, you know, I had this nice, decent sized piece. I had an even bigger piece. I sold half. And I didn't want to cut this up because this color is impossible to get. It's an old R&R color, not made anymore, and probably won't be. So what I did was I decided to make my own linen. And I wanted it, as you can see, this linen that she shows is not a high count linen. It's a low count linen that the original was one. So I wanted to make it sort of a low count linen. And I made my own. It has brown tea in it, it has coffee, and it has some green. I wanted this to be an authentically old looking linen. Pretty, huh? I love it for this. Now, the green was interesting. I usually use natural dyes. Oh, and by the way, this was just like an off-white piece of linen that it started out as. And the count is 28 count. I started out as using spinach. I had some spinach in the fridge, which I had not cooked all week. I think it was a little past its prime. I boiled it, I made green water, I tried to put it on the fabric, it just did not take. I cheated. I actually cooked down the juice to make it more concentrated, and I added a little bit of green food coloring. I didn't want it to be that obnoxious green that you get from the green food coloring. I wanted it to have a little bit of the spinach in it, and what I got was this green. And I put a nice big blob in there. And there's some more little blobs on this fabric. To make this even more interesting, I got painter's threads. I bought painter's threads by a company called Tentaculum. I got this orange. I also picked out this black, which is from my leftover stash. It's onyx. And I picked out this green, which is Gentle Arts Forest Glade. Once again, leftover from my stash. Here's your colors. And what they look like is this. I hope you can see it. I can't wait to see how this comes out. This is going to be really nice. And I'm not going to make a pillow out of this. I'm going to frame it. I'm not sure how. She just hemmed it over and mounted it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that with this one. I don't know. I'm going to measure it, see how big it comes out. Anyway, I'll show this to you when it's done. I'm actually planning on finishing this quick. Why did I rush to start this? Well, when I do these big samplers, these bigger pieces, they get, sort of, I feel like I want to finish something. I just do. So I have to stop and usually do something small, and this is real small. And it's so pretty. The Christmas Reindeer Sampler by Kathy Barrick. I believe this came out after Christmas. So I think this just came out recently. Purchased it at the Cross Stitch Cupboard. I'm sure she has more. She can get more. And what I like about it, it's a beautiful, it's a nice thick piece of cardboard. The printing is beautiful. The graphics are beautiful. I just don't, I'm not crazy about these charts that are just basically printed off a home printer, although that's a beautiful sampler. I love the quality of these nice charts, so not why I bought the chart, but it spoke to me, so I wanted to talk a little bit about dyeing fabric to make your piece yours. In other words, custom dyeing a piece of fabric for your own piece. So how would you go about doing this? My advice to you, now I'm not an expert stitcher, I'm not a designer, but I enjoy this, okay? I'm a hobbyist. My advice to you is to start off with picking your threads. So start off with picking whatever, either silks, or if you're going to use straight DMC, or if you're going to use some interesting fancy floss, which is what I love to use. I like silks too, but pick your threads. And you say, wow, this is easy. I just need 3 different colors that go well together. And since there's a lot of orange, I want it to make the orange a little bit more interesting. So you pick your threads. Then you look at your actual piece and you say, do I want it to look like the original sampler? That is or if it's not an original sampler, do I want it to look like the model? 9 times out of 10, when they'll tell you the model was stitched on, and you look at the picture, the color doesn't match because the photos don't always show what actually the color is. So if you love the color that it's stitched on, try to go to your needle workshop. It's a lot easier than going to, let's say, 1-2-3 Stitch and looking at the colors online, unless you know the colors. But try to pick out a color that's close to what you want. Or what I do often is I look at the original and say, what would this look good on? Then hold your flosses up. I have another piece of that I dyed here. Hold your colors up. As you can see, this piece also has green in it, has some green in it. Hold your colors up and say, how did my colors look against the color of fabric that I chose? And you want to get a sense for that the colors, the fabric, that they look good together, because this is going to be the way it's going to look on your wall when it's done. And if you're like me, you will say, well, I like that color of fabric, maybe, but it's just not right. And I have some samplers and some things that are semi-kitted up where I have not found the right fabric yet, or I haven't made it. Let's say you want to make the fabric, and you say, I can't find the right color. You know, you have to say to yourself, what tones do I want to pick up? If you start out with a neutral color, a tea dyed or a coffee dyed, and it's a sample, it can't go wrong. And then you have to say to yourself, do I want this to look antique, or do I want this to look more formal? For a formal sampler, you want the fabric to be more uniform. If you look at all the beautiful samplers that are reproduced by hands across the sea, they're not variegated fabrics. They are beautiful fabrics, but they are all very one color, neat and uniform fabrics. If you look at some samplers that you might have, or like this one, which is Brenda Gervais, although this fabric is pretty primitive looking, and you just need to do that on something that's more prim. You have to get a good feel for it. You just do. Do I want my piece to look formal? If I want it to look formal, I think about the color that my threads would look good on, and you buy that color. If you want to go more primitive, or you want it to look more authentic in terms of what look like an antique, you have to go the other route and say, well, what colors do I need to incorporate in that fabric to make it look antique that go with my threads? You can dye formal fabrics. I'm doing Harriet Salt on 46 count tea dyed fabric. It's got a little bit of irregularity to it, very little, because I soaked my fabric in tea and I did not bake it. I just rinsed it and dried it, line dried it, well, chair dried it in my yard, and ironed it. I did not bake it. But something like this is baked. I knew that I wanted a tea-dyed look. I knew I wanted a variegated look. In order to get real nice variegations or lines or some interest, I suggest you dye your fabric, you dip it in your tea or your coffee, or you use it as is, and then you take some, I use tea powder or coffee powder, and you sprinkle it in areas. And if you even want it more rustic looking, you bake it. Now for this, I wanted some green in it. So I had to find a green dye in addition to my coffee and tea. So I threw the green on. I could have done this with purple. I could have done this with pink. Many different things I could have. But this particular fabric, I knew I wanted green. And voila, we have the custom fabric for our piece. It's a simple explanation. You have to play with it. Will you make mistakes? Have I? Of course. I've made fabric and I say, wow, that just doesn't look right. What do? You start again. Or you can actually over dye your fabric. You can't, once it's baked in, the colors are baked into your fabric, you can't take them out. I mean, it's stained. But if I wanted to, let's say, lighten this and make it more uniform, you probably could wash this in some detergent and some of it would come out. And then maybe start again. Maybe re-dye it. Maybe if your fabric's not dark enough, you can actually dip it in the tea or the coffee that you've made stronger and let it sit in for longer, or even boil it. You know, boil it for an hour, 2 hours, as long as the color you want. And whatever color that you see that you have now made your fabric, what you're going to be left with once you have baked it and then thoroughly rinsed it. You cannot leave color in your fabric. It'll get all over you and your clothes. And you've rinsed it thoroughly, it's going to be lighter. So you always have to keep that in mind. Anyway, play with your fabric. So I'm very pleased with this. What am I going to do with this other green piece, green and brown piece? I don't know yet. I would like, when I'm done with this, to kit this up with the fabric and sell it that way. So somebody else, especially if they like what I've come up with, can make their own. Enough about that. New stash. Oh, I've been a bad girl. I have some new things to show you, in addition to what I got at the class. So these are some new things that came to my house. New old things. One is an old sampler pair from the Scarlet Letter. They're little samplers. And one of them is named Frances Bliss and one is named Lydia Hinckley. This has never been opened, this package. I believe this is from 1983. Scarlet Letter is still in business, by the way. But this wasn't very expensive and I thought it was awfully cute. They're just nice looking. Sometimes you just want to do a little sampler. And I have some others to do, but I was just looking at this. And this is from Old Sturbridge Village, which is a village you can visit. I don't know exactly where it is. When I was a kid, we went to one named Old Bethpage Village. In Old Bethpage, we went with our school class many times, and it was a recreation of a colonial town. It was great. You went from house to house, and there was a blacksmith, then there was an old country store, and I remember they had the sticks, the candy, like long sticks, the things you sucked on. And they had a seamstress house. You went from house to house. I remember going one time, it was snowing and it was freezing cold, and getting some, they had some hot apple cider there that we had. Another time I went and they had sassafras, root beer. It was just fun. Anyway, that's where this is from. I'd like to open this and read it, but comes with linen and it comes with DMC. Just basic. This is by Schoolroom Samplings. It's an itty bitty kit. Once again, it was not very expensive. It's called The Blue House. A pictorial sampler with its childlike charm was inspired by 18th century dame school embroideries. This is from 1990 by Schoolroom Samplings. This is awfully cute. And this one, they actually have a nice photograph. I like the blue house. It's unusual. And this came once again with some floss and fabric, linen. Okay. Next, from Praiseworthy Stitches, this is called the Lemon Tree Sampler. What happens when I have to wait around for something? I end up going on eBay and Etsy and looking and sometimes buying. This is called the Lemon Tree Sampler. I love lemon trees. Very pretty. Very, very pretty. The lemon trees with the little lemons hanging are so cute. The peacock, the blue peacock. This is just a chart, did not come with anything. It's old. It says here, the Lemon Tree Sampler has a few special touches which Susan and I wanted you to share. The steps in front of the house are satin stitched over 2 threads. The house we outlined with 1 strand of tin bucket so that it would pop out from the fabric. The verse is from an old sampler. The verse as follows, well, I, this canvas, do admon with flowers and letters fair as mom, may grace my cruder heart prepare and print my Savior's image there. Let's see what the called for. She said tin roof. Right, so is this called for fancy floss? I'm looking for the directions. Does it not come with any directions? Is it missing a page? Oh, that's annoying. As you can tell, this is opening it with you. Oh, it's got to be missing a page, unless it's on the back page. Oh, it's on the back page. Stitch count 221 by 195. Model was stitched on 32 count Abecedarian linen from R&R Reproductions. The threads we used are sampler threads from Gentle Arts and Weeks Dye Works. So this is by Pam Lewis and Susan Rome. Nice. What year is this? Now this couldn't be too old. Even though it looks like an older chart, it can't be too old because it called for threads. It's called for linen and threads or things they weren't using 20, 30 years ago. Maybe 20. Anyway, Lemon Tree Sampler. Because I like lemon trees. I wish this was a year on it. If anybody knows anything about this sampler and what year it was, let me know. But there is something about this I liked, so. And finally, I don't know what I was thinking with this. I paid more for this than I really wanted to because it's from a museum. This is called Stitch a Piece of History Cross-Stitch Kits for Authentic Reproduction of American Antique Samplers in Museums and Historical Homes. And this is the Museum Historic Sampler Collection. The company is in Yarmouth, Massachusetts. Collection from the Essex Institute in Salem, Massachusetts. Okay. Unopened. This cross-stitch chart provided in this kit will allow one to create a reproduction of a sampler originally done by Fanny Mutz in 1792. The sampler is in the collection of the Peabody and Essex Museum. And it said it came with either DMC or Aversois silk. Now, this is what bothered me, is I asked the person, what does it come with? And they said they didn't want to open it because it's sealed, and they didn't want to let me know. They had no idea. It was not a stitcher who sold this. So I am going to open this, and this can be the unboxing. Make sure it doesn't have any odor too, because I don't like cigarette odor. No, it doesn't. It smells like fresh and clean. So let's see what it comes with. Oh, this is nice. It comes with a palette. And the palette actually has a little magnet on it. And I know I haven't showed you the sampler yet. And the question to me is, did it come with silk? I'll feel better about the price if it came with silk. Let's see. And no, it's not silk. Maybe it is. You know what? I think it's both. I think it's both silks and cottons. Go figure. Very pretty colors. So it's got both, because this is more cotton than silk. It came with a small piece of, let's see, this is what they seem to have given you with everything, just basic linen. Doesn't look very big. And voila, here's the sampler, historical sampler. I thought this was very nice, and I figured it came with everything. Paid more for this than I wanted to, but this is a really nice chart. It's nice and glossy. It's got the history of the sampler in here. I mean, this is a nice chart. It's got all kinds of instructions, as you can see. The history of the sampler. It's hanging in, it's an American sampler. It's hanging in a museum. So be it. I did not pay what I wanted. I would have felt better, but this is going to be very pretty. I wonder if this is the one I'm going to take on my trip with me. I don't know, but it's awfully pretty. So the Peabody and Essex Museum Sampler Kit. This is why I have to stay off the internet. I swore I wasn't going to buy anything recently. Okay. Now on to show you what I got at the Jean Farish class, or classes. I took two. First off, she gave us this great tote bag that says Jean Farish Needleworks on it. I thought that was pretty cool. There was a free table that Karen from the Cross Stitch Cupboard brought, and I will show you what I took off that table. I took it, I mean, I felt like I took 4 things, but nobody else was taking them, so I figured why not. And I'm going to show you what we have. First off, there was a class that was teaching how to do pulled work, white work and pulled work. And I did learn. I'm very, I don't know much about pulled work, and I was really happy that I was able to take this class to learn about it. Let me show you the project. And it looked much better in real life. But there's a whole border of this, first of all, there's a bunch of specialty stitches in this. And there's a bunch of white pulled work. So we got this, and it came with all of this Cosmo floss, which she really likes. It came with, this is linen thread made by Londonberry Linden thread. This is what you do your pulled work with. And this Cosmo floss, we were doing some practicing, so of course I Cosmo floss. And this very nice linen. And this is my little doodle cloth, just to show you. I don't know if you can see, but I was trying to learn how to do the white work. Let's see if you can see that on the pulled work. So this was definitely worthwhile. Cosmo Floss is made in Japan. I had never heard of it before, never seen it. And it is nice. It is so smooth to the touch. The Japanese make excellent products. Amazing quality products, including their floss. I think it's better than DMC in many ways, but nobody carries it. But she loves it, and I was very happy. Now I'm going to show you something interesting. Do you see how this looks pink, and that's white, linen? Well, the reason this looks pink is she put something pink behind the finished product. Clever. And I love that color. I think it's pretty. Can't wait to do this. It's not going to take long. It's not a huge project. I just am so pleased. The second class was the Janet Irving sampler. There's not much special in terms of this sampler other than I did learn how to do stitching in hand, which I've never done. And this came with a ton of Cosmo floss, including whole boxes of it. Now the sampler picture doesn't look like much. And I'm not sure what this fabric is actually. It's very, very nice fabric. But the colors are beautiful. I actually started it in class. Didn't get much done, but this is going to be a beautiful sampler, and it's easy to stitch. The book that she gave, the book that came with all the floss and the linen, let's not lose this. This book is awesome. This book is awesome. It's got just so beautifully done. Lots of information on the sampler. Here's a picture of the original. You can find this sampler on eBay. I don't know if it's out of print. It might be, but you can find this on eBay, and I gotta tell you, it is going to be really pretty. These trees, these apple trees, come out beautiful. So, and this is an American sampler. Now, there are many more European samplers than American samplers because because America's relatively young compared to Europe. Think about centuries of people living in Europe doing samplers. Many more people living in Europe than there were in the United States. All right. And of course, we got a little gift from, let's see, a little gift they gave out. They're just highlighters. Wow. Is it time to do, where's my phone? I need my phone so I can pick the winner. That's the way I do things. I'll have to be back. Let me go get it. Charts and Kits by Woolcraft. This is old. This is really old. But, this is silk gauze. This beautiful silk gauze. It came with the chart. It came with the floss. Comes with the floss. And this is black and white, but I have no doubt that the finished product is probably beautiful. So it's a silk floss kit. I mean, this is really old. What date is this? This says Alice Godkin 1942. Can't be 1942. I'm gonna have to find out from Karen about this. Copyright. Maybe she designed this in 1942. But I don't know when this was made. It couldn't be made in 1942. But they're calling it petit point, but this is silk gauze, and I'm sure this is going to look really pretty. What a great little kit. I mean, this is just so cool. I was so happy to find this. This one I want to do because I know what people do with the gauze. They sometimes get like a thick piece of cardboard and they mount it on there to make it nice and tight and work on it. So I can't wait to do this. 1942, no way. But this was on the freebie table, so I don't know where it came from. I would guesstimate it's 1980s, not 1942, but she might have done the chart in 42. Okay, I'm going to look up this person, Alice Godkin. If anybody knows anything about this, let me know, because I just thought it was beautiful. Loved it. Now, as promised, I'm trying to go through my stuff. Oh my goodness. I have some boxes. Some boxes. Wooden boxes of charts and things. But I'm trying to figure out what needs what. So I figured I'd show you some of my kitted up stuff. I showed this on my site. This is from a Dime to Stitch club kit. I think it's from last year. Look how pretty that is with all the stuff. This one is God Shed His Grace on Thee from the Dime to Stitch club kit. That does not belong in this container, so we'll put that there. This is Christmas at Hollyberry Farm, which is completely kitted up. I'm so looking forward to this. So I have the called for threads. And this is 36 count pistachio. I believe this is made by Kitten Stitcher. In fact, I know it is. Has like a green tint to it. It smells really good. I just thought the green would look nice. Christmas at Hollyberry Farm. That's all the colors it has? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Must be missing a color. This is why I go through these. But very pretty. I like this pecan pie. So now I got to figure out what color I'm missing. So, not pecan pie, excuse me, pistachio, made by Kitten Stitcher. If you buy Kitten Stitcher linen, you have to know that it will be out of print because she only makes so much, and she sort of just wings it when she makes it, so she doesn't write down the formula or anything, so once you get it, you get it. But I did like this sort of green tint to it. I thought it was just perfect. Christmas at Hollyberry Farm. This is one I have kitted up from Rosewood Matter called Vintage Lace. And I don't have fabric for this, but I have all, oh my God, what was I thinking? I have all of the floss, including this one. The heck? I think I actually bought this kitted up, as I seem to recall, but this is a lot of floss. Let me show you. Oh my goodness. I don't have any fabric in here, so this has to stay out so I can get the fabric. I'm on a diet. I'm not buying anything else. Seriously. Well, I may not do any more videos either because I don't know if I need to. I won't have new stuff to show you, so this might be my last video for a while. Look at all those colors. Beautiful, huh? And I wonder if I bought it this way. There's no way. I don't remember ordering these. I thought I just had the chart. Anyway, the question is what to do this on. It's on a brown fabric, and this is really beautiful. Called for is 32 Belfast Lupine. That's real pretty. This one stays out too because I don't have. Where am I putting the pile of stuff that stays out? Here. Because there's no fabric in there. This I do have. This is beautiful. This is Peace to One and All by Sandy Sullivan. Let me open it because there's a glare. And this one I have completely kitted up. I have all the called for threads, just to show you. And this is 30 count R&R Old Mill Java. This is the old R&R. It's nice and grungy looking. Smells and looks like old R&R. And this is the called for fabric. The new R&R does not look like this. Number one, it's softer. Number two, it's not as grungy. But I think grungy's good. So this is completely kitted up. This stays in that box. I am on a diet. I am not buying anything else. Okay, guys? This is Jane Pattison, 1806 by Shakespeare's Peddler. This is completely kitted up. I saw Shakespeare's Peddler, Kit and Stitcher show this. It's magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. This does not do it justice. This is kitted up with Gentle Arts. These are all wools. This came this way, by the way. As you can see, it's a thread pack. And this is Belfast Platinum. Special piece just cut for that sampler. I've never worked in wool, so I look forward to it. But I bought this all kitted up this way. And Jane Pattison 1806, when it's done, I think you can go through the Kit and Stitcher videos and you can find it. It's absolutely magnificent. Really beautiful. This is Work Basket Summer House Stitch Works, $17.99. I love it. It's beautiful. She's got a bunch of stuff that you do in here, as you can see. She's got the round thing and that. The round thing is the Tree of Wisdom Ort box. She's got the Pennsylvania German alphabet. And she's got the little needle book. She's got 3 different things in here. I really like them. Anyway, I do have the called for threads, which are silks. Oh my gosh, I just dropped one. These are called for threads. And I do not have any linen in there to do this with. This has to stay out. What the heck? How did these end up in here? This is a kit. This is the Halloween March Drum by Dames of the Needle. Looks white, doesn't it? Well, the kit has green. In fact, it's beautiful. This is all kitted up. This is real pretty. Names of the needle, and I just love the fabric. Okay. This is Jeanette Douglas Vintage Pillows. A whole bunch of little vintage pillows. I have a feeling that I've never seen these done, but this came with a thread pack and an embellishment pack. Look. This does not have any sort of, this doesn't have any fabric either. Okay, this is why I go through this. This is With Thy Needle and Thread, Mary's Best Handwork. This is beautiful. I've shown this one before. Completely kitted up. But this does not go in here. I have a separate area just for ones that are this size. This is, oh, I really want to get this one done this year. This is on my priority list, actually. This is called a Christmas Sampler by Midsummer Night Designs. It's really beautiful. There's something about it I just like. It says, Christmas joy is in my heart. Look at the little... So what did I do with this? I have the called for threads, which are magnificent. Beautiful colors. Beautiful colors. Mostly called for threads, and I actually mixed in just some overdyes just for interest. And I was going to do it on this interesting fabric. This is called Newport Red 28 count. And I thought that that sampler might look really interesting on this fabric. I don't know, but I have a feeling it might look very interesting. It depends how it sits on the fabric. I'm not 100% sure about it. But I think it might look really, really neat. So I wanted to try this. Because I thought the called for fabric is just a basic, plain, it didn't do this any justice. So I have this all kitted up. This was originally done on, the called for fabric, believe it or not, is Bittersweet by Lakeside, which does not look anything like that. Bittersweet is pink, so I don't know, but that's one I really want to attempt. This is Honeycomb and Threads. I've got two of these. They're Honeybeans and Blues Drums, complete kits. That and that. And they're just beautiful. She asked me which one I wanted, and I said, oh, limited edition kits, just really nice. Another limited edition kits from Delaney Woods Treasures. That's so cute. This does not belong in here. This is an applique kit. It does not belong in here. Why that's in here, I don't know. Okay, let's see what else we have in here. An old kit. This is Snow Babies 2 by Victoria's Sampler, which I haven't done yet. It came with a chart pack. I thought they were awfully cute. I bought that a long time ago, actually. This is a Heart's Content Colonial Village Schoolhouse Sampler. Also, once again, it's a kit. Probably done over one. And came with everything, including, I think this is Glenshee linen, which is very hard to find. Okay. This is Heartstrings, the Heart of Christmas. This came as a kit as well. These are little ornaments. And it came with all of these pieces. Goes in this container. This is a Christmas sampler with ducks on it. I've seen this all over. This must have been a very popular item at one point. But I have the kit. Kitted up with floss. This is, oh, one of the first ones I bought from the, I never done it from, I haven't done it, from the Cross Stitch Cupboard is Sewing Carrots from Sandra Sullivan. I thought this is so cute. And I had bought threads, floss for it, and a piece of fabric from the Cross Stitch Cupboard. What looks like Weeks Dye Works, some sort of orange fabric. Does the color show up? Yeah, it does. It must be very small if I bought this small piece of fabric. I just haven't done it. Okay. And then I have this one, Joy, Peace, and Yule, which can't, I also got this from the Cross Stitch Cupboard. And this actually is that, but it's got all these little buttons to hang from the tree. So I bought this. And once again, it came with a bunch of thread. I'm going to keep this thread out, keep this out. I don't know if I'm ever going to do this. I don't know what I was thinking. It's really neat. It's very pretty. It's from Just Another Button Company. This actually came out really nice. I don't have, I'm going to keep this out. I don't have the fabric for it, so I don't know why it's in here. Little kit called the Holiday Sampler. Little itty bitty sampler, awfully cute. Complete with everything you need to make it in a sealed package. This one is Sandra Sullivan Sampler Ornament Starry Night. It's really pretty. And I've got all the called for threads. And I've got a piece of homespun elegance. This is linen and silk. Silk linen to do it on. It's not very big, it's small. I should be able to complete that one relatively quickly. Like I said, I'm not buying any more. No more. I've got Colonial Charms Sampler. Complete kit. Oh, so beautiful. Look at the way that, how organized that is. Once again, by the Heart's Content. I have a second one called Colonial Yorktown Sampler. This is very, very beautiful. It's a very pretty sampler. All beautifully packaged, once again, by the Heart's Content. This is a, this actually is a kitted up sampler. I don't know where it's from, but it says decorate with folk motifs. I think it's like from a magazine of some sort. And this came all kitted up. It came with everything you need. I think you ordered it from the magazine. This fabric is really nice. And I don't know what it is, but it's a very nice, it's like thick fabric. I like the color. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to do this one, but we'll see. Uh-oh. Now I don't know where this comes from, so hold on. This, I have the entire flock. I don't know if you've ever seen the flock. I wish she would show this all in one. But this came in little pieces. This is done at the cross stitch covered and it's beautiful. I have 30 count red pear linen, which is the called for linen, which is beautiful. And all, I have the charms and all the called for floss. This comes out so beautiful. These were expensive because you had to buy, instead of buying one nice big chart, you had to buy them all individually. I'll never do that again actually, because I thought it added up to a lot. But on the other hand, the flock is real nice and you can resell the charts because it's popular. This is $1. This is the Barbara Anner Designs Love Never Fails. I bought this to make for our wedding. And I started it and I didn't like the fabric, so I actually stopped it. This is just Dirty Belfast that I picked out for this, just dirty linen. And I'm going to restart this because it's going to be done in DMC. I can't believe I haven't finished this. It's embarrassing. This is And to All a Good Night, one of the original charts. Prairie Schooler. And I have this completely kitted up. I've got a piece of fabric, what fabric is this? I don't know. Mystery fabric, but it's nice fabric, see? And DMC. And it says missing something. Okay. Then I have one other Prairie Schooler here. This is one of the original charts. I don't like the remake charts. I think the redone charts are very flimsy, but these are nice. This one is called Farmer's Alphabet. And interestingly enough, this is Weeks Dye Works linen that I bought to do it on. That's this gingham linen. I thought that this alphabet would look nice on the gingham linen. In fact, I know it will. And oh, I have a whole bunch of overdyes to do this in. And that's it for this. Could you believe it? Oh, crazy, right? I don't know if we have enough time to go through that book. I think it's getting This video is getting too long, right? I think we'll go through the book next time. I'd like to thank everybody that's watched these videos and that appreciates the work I do. This is a hobby for me. I'm not a designer. I know I've said that before. But I really enjoy the craft. I enjoy sharing with you. And when you give me feedback that says that you like it too, it makes me feel good. Although I am open to constructive criticism, of course. I don't have as much time in the day as I want to be able to work, you know, to be able to do this all day long, and to do cross stitch all day, that is. But I think I do plenty considering. And I hope everybody enjoys the video. I don't know how many of these I'm going to make in the future, because I am busy at work, and I have the page, which is really fun for me to do. So, just trying to clean up. Let's see. I'm going to have to do more cleanup in a bit, because this table is sort of a mess. But anyway, from my home to yours, thank you for watching video. Please give me some feedback. Also, I'd like to get some feedback on this lighting. I don't personally like the lighting, but it might be good for the video. Please find us on the Vintage Cross Stitch Niche on Facebook, and have a great evening.